Opening in theaters this week, courtesy of MGM in the United States and Elevation Pictures in Canada, is George Miller's newest movie, 3,000 Years of Longing, and here's my review. Miller is one of those directors who isn't sure what to expect from him the next time he goes behind the camera. He's gone from Babe Pig in the City to the Happy Feet films to Mad Max Fury Road. With 3,000 Years of Longing, he creates an unusual and different kind of fantasy film that attempts to do its own spin on the familiar genie in a bottle premise. While there is a decent amount of creativity on display, the story is a tad messy. There's more focus given to the genie's backstory than his relationship with his new master. The film begins with a lot of intrigue when we first meet Tilda Swinton's scholar arriving in Turkey. Miller drops hints at what she's about to encounter and presents the theme about the continuing fascination with stories and mythology. Once Idris Elba's genie is unleashed, that's when things take a turn. Miller has fun with him learning about the world around him and getting accustomed to new technology. The visual effects artists play around with his size, and it's enjoyable watching Swinton and Elba bounce off each other. However, the movie eventually descends to a series of backstories, with the genie talking about previous adventures he had. A large portion of the first hour consists of these flashbacks, many of which revolve around a similar theme. Miller makes them visually arresting, but the whole time you're wondering what this is all leading up to. There's little emotional attachment to the central figures of these stories, aside from the genie wanting to be free. There are familiar themes about hubris and the search for power and love, but it's all surface-level material. Once his entire backstory is explained, it appears like the main plot with Swinton will finally get started. Unfortunately, the romance that forms between the two is not as interesting as it could be, and then the movie abruptly ends. There's a feeling of, that's it, when the end credits roll. What keeps one invested in where the story goes boils down to the way Miller uses the effects and camera. He's always been a director with a knowledge of how to use the camera to swoop the audience into his worlds, and he often makes sure there's something creative to watch on the screen. An intriguing element also comes from the decision to acknowledge the current pandemic in the film. Most movies shot over the past few years have largely ignored it for the sake of the story, but 3,000 Years of Longing frequently shows characters wearing masks, and an image of the coronavirus is even shown during a presentation. However, this fits into one of the themes in the movie about the way humans value connection, even at a time when many are required to stay apart. With George Miller, even when you're underwhelmed with one of his films, it's easy to admire his ambition. 3,000 Years of Longing is absolutely the product of a director unafraid of taking certain leaps of his stories and bringing audiences something different. The plot structure is an odd one, and does not feel like the genie premise is fully taken advantage of. Nonetheless, it's clear this is the film Miller set out to make, and he wanted to play around with the genie mythos in telling the story. One just wishes there was a bit more to chew on, especially with the relationship at the center of the film.